Before he had cookies, or an island, or a universal gravitation, before he even had his own story, he was just Yoshi. Today on Nin Chronicles, we're going to take a look at Yoshi. Yoshi is a puzzle game that had a dual release for the NES and Game Boy. It originally came out near the end of 1991 in Japan under the name Yoshi's Egg. Then a couple months later it came out here in America as simply Yoshi. Then a couple months after that it came out in Europe retitled as Mario and Yoshi. Got all that so far? Good. Yoshi stars Yoshi. It stars Mario and Yoshi. It stars Yoshi's Egg? This isn't working out, is it? Anyway, the game stars Mario's pal Yoshi, who had only just debuted in Super Mario World a year and a half earlier. You might be surprised to learn that this is an early title from Game Freak. That's right, the Pokemon people. Well, I guess you could say this game is about Mario catching monsters. Goombas, piranha plants, boos, and bloopers fall from the top and land on one of these trays at the bottom. This is where you come in. Mario can flip the trays around to try and make a match. Sometimes it takes a while before the right pair shows up, and that's when you start having to manage what's on your trays. There is a quick way to take care of that. Sandwich a bunch of enemies between some eggshells and Yoshi appears. I don't think this is how Yoshis are born. The more enemies you stuff in an egg, the bigger the Yoshi is. I really don't think you can hatch from an egg as an adult. The bottom half of the egg is treated just like any other game piece, but the top half cracks if there's no bottom waiting for it. Alright, that's the basics of the game down. Let's take a look at the modes. A-Type is an endless game. You keep going and going and going until you hit game over. If you manage to hatch at least 10 eggs before you get a game over, a bonus chance appears. Hit A right when these eggs hatch to make a Yoshi pop out. The better your timing, the bigger the Yoshi. If you miss, then something else from the Mario series will show up. Hey, Bob-ombs, I didn't know you guys were in this game. B-Type is split up into levels. Clear the screen to get yourself a win. In between levels, you get a nice little cutscene of Yoshi eating something for bonus points. This changes between levels too, and will give you more points as the game goes on. There's also some other settings you can fiddle with when you start up the game, as was common with Nintendo puzzlers at the time. You can adjust the speed of the falling characters and pick one of 3 tunes to listen to while you play. Personally, I'm a fan of the Star Song. The level setting is different depending on what mode you're playing. In A-Type, it makes the enemies fall faster, which if you already set the speed to high is going to make things more difficult. In B-Type, you start out with larger stacks of enemies. If you play these from the beginning, you'll hit these high levels eventually, so it works if you want a challenge right off the bat. Finally, let's look at the 2-player mode. Luigi gets to join in a versus match against Mario to see who can clear the screen first. The first one to do it 3 times becomes the winner. Oh no is right, Mario, you better pull it together. If you trap a bunch of enemies between eggshells, they'll be sent over to the opponent's side as garbage blocks. Yeah, take that, Luigi. Before you begin, each player can determine the level and speed they want to start out with. So, both of you can be on even ground, or one of you can adjust a challenge to your liking. Oh, wait a minute. I've just been showing NES footage the whole time, haven't I? Well, let's take a look at the Game Boy version before we go. Released roughly the same time as the home console game, this portable edition of Yoshi has a few differences. Notably, the amount of stuff you can stack on a tray has gone down from 8 to 7. On top of the tighter gameplay, this also changes the Yoshi evolution chart a bit. Also, the cutscene that plays when you clear a level in B-Type is a bit more plain. Just has Mario and Yoshi running around in the void. You also won't be sharing the same screen in multiplayer, so to compensate, there's a counter on the side here showing how many enemies you and your opponent have left. Otherwise, it's still pretty much the same game. If this puzzle game from the past has piqued your interest, there are a number of options available for you to grab it. At least if you want the NES version. Whoa, that's a big table. Hey, you can even play it right now if you have a Switch Online subscription. The Game Boy version, though, has yet to see a digital release, but I'm thinking you're going to want to stick with the NES for this one. The larger playing field that allows for more stacking is a pretty big point in its favor, I feel. Well, regardless of which version you pick up, I think we can all agree that this game raises far too many questions about Yoshi biology. Also, if you manage to hatch 100 eggs before you get a game over, then Yoshi will do a little dance for you. Go, Yoshi, go!